invite-only places where all of the secrets go. And the invite-only places where all the secrets go are quite interesting, okay? Because, I mean, we can't possibly know what goes on there because they're invite-only, and no one would ever invite me. Or would they? Okay, so I did some underground journalism, got into a couple of these servers, and you can see here as the overlay guide. Let's read this. Please use the examples below to make sure the Kick logo and watermark placement is correct on all clips. The Kick overlay should always be clearly visible and placed so that it can be properly seen at all times. Make sure the overlay is sized and placed exactly in this guide before submitting. It must stay visible at all times, must remain clear or obstructed at all times, sized and placed to fit your clip exactly as shown in this guide. Some UI stuff here. Follow the examples. Incorrect logo placement may result in your clip being rejected. AKA, very important right there. That's kind of the key thing to focus on. If you do not put the Kick logo, as seen right here, onto your clips, you do not get paid. So every one of these multiple billions of views has that Kick logo square right into the right in the bottom for the entire duration of the video, and every one of the clippers is doing that. That is why Kick is doing this. You must have the Kick banner on every clip. If you mess it up, there's no pay whatsoever. How are these influencers by Kick being chosen? I can't figure that out. I've gotten a lot of different people kind of like weighing in on that. Nearest I can tell, it's basically who you know at Kick. Now, they like technically offer this program via the Kick partner program, the KPP they call it. They offer it to any Kick partner, and I'm actually pretty confident that if you were a Kick partner, you could probably message somebody, like some staff member, and be like, hey, I want to be in on this, and you could probably do it. And I think to some degree they would feature you. But like, what determines that like these people get like featured over like these people? I think it's arbitrary, and also just that some of these people have like Clavicular like also just did really well when it comes to like the way that he gets viewership. It just worked. Like it actually helped him go viral, and a lot of the stuff that he did like went viral on its own once it got featured everywhere. So I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on with the Kick stuff, and it's a little bit iffy. So Kick is quite literally spending millions of dollars, like actually millions of dollars per month, to promote broadcasters, and then they're also paying them on the back end through the partner program as well. And simultaneously, they're doing this as a marketing strategy to bring people to Kick. So this is a different approach. From like to understand this, we've got to kind of go back in time a little bit, and we have to understand how Twitch, the main live streaming website that has most of the viewers right now. Well, YouTube now has all those viewers, but used to have a lot of the viewers. Their marketing strategy in 2015-ish, like 2012, this started. We'll talk about like the Twitch marketing strategy. Their marketing strategy was to pay streamers individually to stream on the platform, and they got bonuses based on how many viewers they had and like how many hours they streamed. And like the Twitch way of doing this was to offer contracts to streamers for flat rates plus like minimum guarantees and bonuses, with the idea of keeping them on the platform. This was an exclusive thing. Kick actually doesn't care about if you're like exclusive most of the time or not, except for their like very top people. So the marketing strategy that Twitch used to use was to pay before they ran out of money, and like Amazon basically cut their budget. I mean, they're a ghost ship now, right? But before they basically cut their budget, this was how Twitch operated. So Kick has looked at this, and Kick has said, you know what? We want to go a different route, and they're using a playbook that they used at Stake. Stake is the kind of partner company to Kick. I know they don't like that they don't like that association, but I mean, like literally when I was on the podcast with the owner of to me it's like, if your executives are cross-sectional decision makers on each like, if you have an executive, you have a CMO, and the CMO makes decisions for both Stake and both Kick, like they're associated companies. That's it, right? Like, and when I talked to Eddie the owner of Kick, who was very charitable to me, honestly, on the podcast. He was very transparent about that. So look, to me, it's like it's an associated company. Stake had the playbook. You might have seen this even if you're a pretty savvy social media person. You might remember when you were seeing like Stake logos all over the place across like all social media. That's just this playbook, right? Like it's just people getting paid to post Stake logos everywhere. They took that playbook and they optimized it and they put it out there for Kick. And this has a dual purpose of like, one, it blows the streamers up, so it markets them, and number two, it obviously brings people to the website because 2.2 billion people are seeing the Kick logo, and some of them, like some very small percentage, are going to go to Kick and check it out. And this is going to boost their live viewership as well. So like on YouTube Shorts and like TikToks and Reels and stuff, the conversions are bad, like percentage wise. Like you might, it's like 0.00001%. But it doesn't matter if you have 2 billion views and like the aggregated views of all these people are way more. You're going to have some people come to your website. Now, look. I'm a marketer, okay? I'm a brand agency owner. This is smart marketing. Like from their perspective, like whatever you might think about the ethics of it, and you're well within your rights to think about the ethics and the morals of this. But like that's like I'm here to just present the information. I gotta say though, like from a perspective of like what Twitch did, which is like, okay, we've got to grow our website.
Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
Website somehow. Like we could pay streamers millions of dollars to stay on the platform, and then we are making those streamers responsible for their own growth. So all the OGs that got the contracts and got paid on Twitch, they all had to solve the growth problem themselves. Like bringing viewers to the website was up to them. But Kick is saying, no, we are actually going to do this for you, and we're going to bring people to the website, and this is where our marketing budget is going to go. So they're spending tens of millions of dollars because this is understanding that this is a ecosystem that feeds them. That's why this exists. Okay, Kick would not be paying this kind of money if they didn't want to actually build the platform. So like from the perspective of a pure marketing perspective, this is a superior marketing strategy than what Twitch did. It just is. Like they're taking the growth into their own hands. They're getting views on they're getting way more views. Like when Twitch paid people to put money in, to give money to streamers, they were still benefiting the content creator economy, and people made a lot of money off of it. There were people like Shroud and made millions of dollars off that kind of stuff. A lot of people that got paid contracts, all those top streamers, Pokimane, all those people, like they did really well back when they were paying contracts. But Twitch was basically paying them and then saying you're responsible for your own growth, and like we hope that works out. Meanwhile, Kick says no, we're gonna blast ourselves everywhere, and then we're also gonna boost these streamers as a side effect. So like from a pure marketing perspective, like dude, like you gotta look at the hustle across billions and billions of views. It's actually a lot of impressions. So I think though that what we need to talk about next is kind of the darker side of it. We need to go over like why exactly this works, and like what this is doing to the algorithm, what this might mean for like the future of content, and I think like how this is tricking algorithms, and like I think we need to like go into like a little bit of the darker side, that kind of stuff being said. So before we do that, that's right, we've got the secret call out 2440. 2440, please post in the comments down below that you're still here for a deep analysis Devin Nash video. 2440 is the secret call out. I got two things for you guys. Number one, just thank you very much for supporting this. I don't really do this stuff because I'm mostly on the business side, so I don't have anything to like really sell you. But if you did want to support me, oh my gosh, it would be such an honor. You could go check out my Patreon page. My Patreon page is $5. $5. Where'd it go? We're gonna open a new one. It disappeared. It's shy today. But my Patreon page is $5, and I post a literally ridiculous amount of videos here. So you can see here how to build an unbeatable workday step by step is the last video. I have quite literally hundreds of videos here that are not on YouTube. They're nowhere else. If you're interested in self-improvement, if you're interested in how I run businesses, you can see here I got work days, I got productivity guides, I've got overcoming buying resistance and making better sales. Everything I've ever learned in the business world is here. So, it's just video after video after video, and I have a couple of tiers. I've got the $5 one, and that's just all the videos you get. And then there's a higher tier if you want to join it, which you can actually talk with me live every Saturday, and we go over like what you're doing in your business, and it's like direct coaching, and it's really cool. So check it out, please. That would mean a lot to me if you wanted to support the Patreon. Other than that, I do some consulting. There's a link down below. It's closed right now, so probably not relevant, but I do it. So that's it. The Secret Call at 2440. Thank you guys for supporting this. And let's get on to why this abuses the algorithm and why this works. Section 5, which I think is kind of the most interesting section. I think this is like, this is kind of the meat of it. So let's kind of talk about the like first principles logic of like how platforms think about things. And to understand that this used to be different. Like it used to be kind of Instagram had their own way of doing this. Facebook had their own way of doing this, and then YouTube kind of just broke the mold, and YouTube was like, oh, we just like straight up figured it out, and then like pretty much everybody copied them. Then TikTok came along and said, okay, we're gonna use that system, but we're gonna figure it out for short form. So we're gonna take 7 to 60 second videos instead of your 8 to 15 minute videos, and we're gonna make these into we're gonna make these popular. And the whole idea of an algorithm is it's simply to orient an audience towards videos that they want to see. So one of the major signals for doing that is, and just deciding that content is important in general, is like the number of people they're talking about. So think about like if a news topic, like let's say something like a big presidential thing happens, or there's like big news in the world, a big volcano erupts or something. A wizard comes along and erupts a volcano through sheer willpower and intent alone. How do we like hear about that? And like, how does an algorithm know that that's important? Well, a big part of it is just volume. Like a bunch of people saw the volcano blow up, and a bunch of people that didn't see the volcano blow up want to talk about the volcano blowing up, and a bunch of analysts who are volcano specialists want to come in and talk about the optics of the volcano blowing up. So what happens? Well, there's a lot of volume, right? There's a lot of like, suddenly there's just like a bunch of clips, and there's a bunch of information. There's a bunch of different people talking about that form of content. And now the algorithm goes, oh, that's important. So we need to feature that. So the algorithm says, everybody wants to talk about the volcano. I'm going to push the volcano. So imagine what kind of signal it sends when you have 550,000 clips in a month, in 30 days, talking about this guy. The algorithm just goes, this is the most important person in the world. This guy wants everybody to talk about him. So if you've like had that experience of like, you just like open anywhere and you're like, it's like clavicular. You're like, what is Looksmack? I don't even care about this guy. I never even Googled anything like this. What is happening? It's because the algorithm is actually getting tricked. Like I promised you, this is not a bait video. Like this is actually a game system. They are uploading so many clips, and the volume is so much that it's just telling the algorithm, hey, you should talk about this person nonstop. He's blowing up. This is the most important thing in the world. So what is so crazy about this, and this is like this is the nuttiest thing about this video, like it's just not an exaggeration that content creation isn't about being interesting or engaging anymore. Like the previous type of content creation where you had to like have like a personality, and like I'm not saying that like some of these creators don't have these personalities. It's subjective, right? Like what is good content and what isn't is like a very subjective thing. But I will tell you, like I guess subjectively, in my opinion, that a lot of the people on this list are boring as hell, and you might agree with that, or they're just outright just like not like kind of like skeezy type of people, right? Like some of them are great, but like some of them are legitimately just boring as hell. Doesn't matter. You have 70,000 clips. You go anywhere you want. It's just not going to make a difference what your content is, and that kind of fundamentally undermines like the whole purpose of like what content creation was. It kind of is. Like content creation was kind of a voting system. It was kind of like, oh, like we think this guy like Mark Rober is interesting, so we're gonna like watch his video, and then that video, and then everyone's like, yay, that video is gonna do well, and then Mark Rober's like, wow, I got rewarded for that. I'll make more videos, and like so the cycle goes. But now the algorithm will just pick up anybody, no matter how uninteresting or how boring, at this volume. And it's just going to push it no matter what, because it's taught that the sheer volume of posts about the same thing equals that's important. So this is what, like this is where we get into kind of the dark side of the issue. Wait, you are not even choosing the content that you watch anymore. The algorithm by volume, and these paid clipping campaigns are quite literally choosing it for you. It doesn't matter how you participate. It doesn't matter if you click not interested or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like you can't not interested yourself out of 2 billion views of Clavicular. He's coming. He's coming. And it was some Kick executive that decided that for
You have my attention.
you, right? Like it's not the fact that he organically blew up by the vote of the crowd, by engagement, by likes, by and that's that sort of thing. There's an aspect of that, right? Like there's a part of that that's true, but he kind of blew up because somebody decided or somebody gave a lot of money to somebody and said, hey, we're gonna pay for 69,000 views and 2,000 people full time to just literally spam social media with all of this stuff. And that's also why, like what that also does is that drives down the quality of the clips as well, because if there have already been 51,775 clips submitted, and then you watch the 51,776th one, it doesn't have to be interesting content. Like your lived experience is you just watch a bad clip, but because the algorithm had 50,000 videos before it, it was just like, no, this is he's gonna like this, and you're like, I don't really like this, and it's like you do like it, you have to like it. 50,000 people, other videos said that it's there. You better like it right now. Here's another one. You don't like that one? Take this one. God, and now you're just like, like leave me alone, like, right? Like, so we are no longer in social media. Nothing you do is social media. Social media is like, you go on Discord and say hello to your friend. Discord is the most social media we have now. Like, there's like, when's the last time you went on Twitter and you talked to your friend? It never happens, right? Like, you're talking to the people that and you're consuming the topics that the algorithm says that you should consume. The content that you watch isn't even stuff that you choose anymore. The interests that you have are no longer social. It's not like keeping up with your college buddies. It's algorithm media. It's interest media. I would say is a better word for social media now. Like I don't think like social media is even the proper word for it anymore. It's kind of a different thing. So, like, you're not even choosing the content you watch anymore, man. It's crazy. So, what do we do about it? Right? Like, last section. I mean, like, what to do? If there is anything to be done. But just a couple of, like, observations and commentary from, you know, your friend, the marketer, Devin. Well, we are now in a... So I read this, like, it just so happened, I made this post on X. It was about this before I made this video, and like the post on X, twitter.com/Devin Nash, I post like really long form analysis on stuff there. And like literally the same day, this guy came out with like, I'm not saying he just like wrote this himself. I think it was just a total coincidence that he came out at the same time. Never heard of his name. Doesn't even follow me, I guess. But he put this thing out there called the clipping economy, and it basically concludes the same thing that I'm telling you right now, which is like, man, clips are taking over like a lot of the attention economy. There's some very weird stuff in this article. I mean, like, basically what he's saying is we've now moved from like a content economy to like the way that it was before to like now everything's just clips. And there's some stuff in here that's like a little bit questionable, like this graph, for example, where you see here it says average live viewership versus clip viewership. So you can take a person like Hassan Piker, who averages about 33,000 viewers live, and then it says like in the same amount of time for April, he's already gotten 700,000 views on his his content, his long and short form content. This is disingenuous. The person that wrote this article, well, I think they should keep doing work because they write interesting things, and I just encourage everybody to write interesting things. They're probably not in this field in the same way. So this, for example, is not correct, right? This is a false equivalence because Hassan might have 33,000 viewers at one given time. So when you go on his stream, you see, oh, he has 33,000 viewers, but that represents a snapshot in time. There is, in fact, like a churn, and the churn is going quite quickly, so that the end of his stream will actually represent a unique viewership of much, much higher. The number will be way closer to this number. Also, that 33,000 viewers is just counting like one stream. He streams every single day. for tons of people. So in reality, his like total live streaming exposure, and that's most likely true for clavicular as well. Why did he have to choose that name? It's so hard to say. The viewership is actually equal. So this is like not a very good representation of this this concept. You can't like really pay attention to this. This is kind of like a critical mistake with this article, but the foundation of it, which is like the clip economy is big and it's being gamed, that's good. and I think that's true. I think like a much better way to sort of interpret this is just to see this here, just to get an idea of like, okay, well, these are like all the views that just Kick is doing that show how much of like your social media experience, your interest media experience is being dictated by this. So I do agree that we're in a clipping economy. And in my post on X, I ended up saying at the end, like my conclusion here was straight up like wherever you stand on it, streaming, live streaming, and kind of content creation in general is just a much more gamed ecosystem now, and it will remain so. There is no way to really police this behavior because it hijacks the algorithm. Like we talked about how the algorithm kind of perceives like importance. I guess you could have like individual employees at these companies like ban the individual people, but it would be like very weird and like very hard to do. So there's no, so like live streaming, like streaming as relates to Kick, and it's just kind of a gamed ecosystem. Like there will be very few broadcasters that come up in the next few years that aren't utilizing this strategy. Now, notably, there are broadcasters that are coming up not utilizing it. I think the biggest example of the one is the video that I did before this, which was an analysis on the Burnt Peanut. And the Burnt Peanut is a person who is, to my knowledge, not using that clipping service yet. He's doing a couple other tricks. Not like, for example, he has a 24/7 stream online, so he hosts the 24/7 stream when he goes offline. The 24/7 stream then hosts him when he goes online. So that is kind of that's set up by his agency. They're real smart guys, and a lot of the top streamers do that now to not churn viewers, so that the AFK viewers like sit at the bottom of that stream, and then they kind of continuously rehost themselves. So you might have an AFK viewer for like 4 days that still counts as a viewer, right? Because he just left his computer on or something, or left his TV on. So there's a little bit of that, but like Burnt Peanut's not gaming that system, and he's like the biggest streamer on Twitch right now. So it's like there are people that can still come up by not utilizing this, but it's like it's like climbing up a mountain of ice without the little ice picks. Like sure, there's like some guy that might be able to like dig his hands in and just like right, but like overall, like you're gonna have to utilize this system to be competitive, which kind of sucks. I think. I mean that's kind of iffy. I also think so. We're talking about like overall concepts. So we're now in the clipping economy. That was like number one. We are now in the clipping economy, and like for that, I agree. And I think it's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. Now, somebody in my comments, you smart guy, you mentioned that it is possible that LLMs get advanced enough that they can kind of detect this behavior, and then as a result, they're kind of added into algorithms and they suppress it down. I don't know. It would be hard to differentiate between like an actual viral topic and one that's being farmed just by the way this works. But that's a cool concept. That's kind of a cool idea. Next thing I think in terms of this, like what to do about it, like section is, you know, live viewership in general when it comes to streaming, like just doesn't really matter. It's like the long form stuff is just more of a way to get content, to do clips these days. Most people follow everything through short form. So if you have heard of a broadcaster like Asmongold, like you've probably seen like some kind of clip of him rather than like watch his live stream. I don't think this will change. I don't think that real brand power comes from like live viewership. And for that matter, I also think that brand power doesn't really come from short form either. So I think most of these people on this list are going to be people that we don't care about in 2 years. I like the difference is going to be the people that are creating authentic long form content. Like whatever you think about Asmongold, and I'm not here to pass a value judgment on anyone. I've just gotten out of that style of my life. I want to like champion everybody. I want to like be the like at the highest levels for anybody that's actually doing anything. Okay, for the most part. So from a pure marketing perspective, you look at a creator like Asmongold, and this dude is like consistently hitting 7 to 8 long form 20-minute videos every single day. Plus, he's part of the clipping system. Okay, so like in terms of brand authenticity, like we're gonna be hearing from Asmongold. He's right here, by the way. He's got the 66 clippers, 2,000 videos, and 70 million views, which I think a lot of those views are just his own views on his long form content. Like, I think we're gonna be hearing from people like this who have set up like a long form strategy on their own media for a long period of time. And I think Asmongold, like, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, I think he's one of the most impressive people out there. He's really understands the system, or his team does. I think he's a smart guy though. And he knows like not only how to address different topics and communicate them, but he also knows how to create long form content. Like you literally almost can't get through a single day of his content. Like here's a 2-hour one, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like you'd have to be watching this guy all day, every day to consume everything he posts out in a week. So there's in a day, excuse me. So this kind of thing is going to last. I think a lot of these sort of like short form videos like are just like gonna sort of fizzle out. People are like, okay, like I get it, like this guy's like kind of the talk of the town, and then you kind of get your 15 minutes and you peace out. It's kind of over. Okay, for most of these people, I don't think they're gonna stick around. For the people that are doing authentic long form strategy and like they are really thinking through their marketing plan and their brand power, and they have like a unique message, more so I think they'll be around. In terms of the ethics and morality of this, I think you've got two perspectives. The first one's going to be the one that I think most people have, which is this is astroturfing content creators and it's creating false ecosystems. I think that's a perfectly fine way of looking at it. Because it is very true that like a content creator that is interesting, by like the subjective definition that most people would look at them and think about it, like oh, that person is interesting, right? Will just get blown out by the massive trumpet that is 60,000 clips from a totally uninteresting person, or 10,000 or whatever the number is, whoever the influencer is, right? And that influencer, by virtue of the fact that they have a paid system behind them that is generating all this media, will just get propelled to the top of the algorithm in all the ways that we explained in this video. And astroturfing is a term that means like you're just kind of creating like a false campaign that's like not really real. And I think a lot of people will look at the ecosystem and say we are worse for this being the case. And I think they're perfectly within their rights to think that. And I try to stay out of the personal opinions, but I would lean more towards that direction than I would the next opinion, which is like, well, it's a new age marketing campaign to drive viewers, especially like for Kick to drive viewers to itself. And okay, I can see that from the perspective of a marketer. That like, again, like this is a superior campaign to run, and like were I at the top of a platform like Kick and making decisions like this, I would probably make the same decisions to market my platform out at the expense of, I guess, the entire content creator ecosystem. Who knows, you know? So, or maybe I wouldn't. But the point is, like, they're making them, and I understand it from that marketing perspective. Okay, but then here's a really interesting point. And this is from Nick Pullum, props. One of the only other influencers that uses his full name, NMP. He's a live streamer on Twitch, and he posted something that I just like. I wanted to include in this video because I just didn't think about it. I was like, oh, this is actually huge. So he posted this. I'm curious, with all of these clippers and them getting paid to do so, aren't these mini hashtag ads? So he's referring to the FTC guideline that says that if you've paid for somebody to do content, that needs to be an ad. Like you need to disclose that's an ad. So do they not need to disclose that they're being paid? And that's a federal requirement in the United States of America, but you've got to do it. You might see like those hashtag ads for any kind of like sponsorship stuff. I do. So my job outside of making these videos, and this is just fun, right? My job is to I support brands. I work for brands, and I build them big influencer campaigns, and I pay influencers to talk about products or talk about services that these brands have, and we make the brands a lot of money. But we have to put hashtag ad on every single one of those videos that we do because they're sponsored videos, and the FTC guidelines require us to communicate that. So Nick kind of brought up like something I didn't even think about, which is like, why aren't all of these paid clippers required to do that? And the answer is because like we're operating like a gray hat area of marketing right now, where this is just not being considered. So this is kind of a big deal, right? Like if the eye of Sauron were to turn on this, and like you know what's interesting is like, I mean, like Trump just did an ad with the UFC, and the UFC is sponsored by steak. So like, at what point does the government like kind of be like, is this what are we doing here, right? And you know, at the point where somebody might like report this or something. Like, it could get interesting. So curious how it's different than, let's say, McDonald's paying me to tweet about their burgers. And I thought about this for a while. Like when I told them, thanks, like, I'm gonna put this in the video, because honestly, like to me, I mean, like, you would need somebody to legally sort this out, but to me, that's exactly the same thing. Like, you're paying for an ad for your stream because you're quite literally paying a paid clipper. The clipper is getting paid to promote your services, and they're getting paid to do that. I mean, that's like kind of textbook definition of an ad to me. I think that's the same thing as a hashtag ad. That would need to be sorted out in court. Like, to be very clear, that is not, well, that's not delineated on yet. Like, we don't know. But what we do know is that, like, for influencer-based content that is sponsored, or content that is sponsored by brands directly or things like that, you gotta disclose it. I do that for thousands of influencers every month. So it's interesting. It's just a very interesting thought here that I wanted to include. I think it's a real important point. Couple of last points that we've got here that I think are interesting. Wherever you stand on it, streaming isn't like what it used to be, and content creation is not what it used to be. The ecosystem is different, and it will remain that way, I think, because again, there's no way to police this behavior like we talked about earlier. And live streaming especially is now like a totally rigged game, because there is no way to grow. Like, you are a 10 viewer, 15 viewer person, and you're not utilizing these strategies. And like, and look, like, hey, I just want to talk to, like, there are a lot of small content creators that watch this channel. I know you're not hopeless, okay? Like, you could go get a couple of your friends together. You could go get 2 or 3 people, and you could go make some clips, post them on different platforms, on different accounts, and see how they do. Will you get 2 billion views, and will you be clavicular? No, but will you meaningfully increase the amount of viewership and exposure you have relative to your own work that you put in? Yes, you will do that, right? So I don't want anybody to lose hope, because you could definitely boost yourself by doing like some miniaturized version of this, but certainly, like, in terms of, like, if you want to go up there and be like the top percentage of people, it is a rigged game now. And content creation in general, like across like a lot of social media platforms, is going this way because of services like we talked about, these Discord servers and things like that. And however that makes you feel, I mean, like, you are within your right to feel it. For me personally, like, you know, I don't like to get involved these days in this stuff, as far as like my personal opinion. 2 reasons for that. One, I'm out of the game. Like, I work for brands, so my interest is in like interesting marketing stuff and interesting advertising stuff. My job's to educate. 2, I just want people to make their own decisions. I don't like the idea of like me influencing your opinion or anything like that. But if you must know, like, where I kind of stand on it, obviously I'm like the old man, like, shaking his fist at the clouds, like, do you remember when people were actually interesting? And like, I feel a little bit of that. But I also acknowledge, like, this is the ecosystem that we're in. I'm just glad that I could be here and post videos like this, because this took a lot of research to do. This took me several weeks to figure out exactly how this functions and get all these individual data points right, to be able to share it with you. And I hope this video and this deep dive quite literally was as interesting for you as it was for me making it, because ultimately I just love marketing and how this stuff works. If it was interesting, hey, like, go check out the Patreon, throw $5 at it, go check out my other videos and stuff like that. Otherwise, just enjoy the stuff free on YouTube. Whatever you got to do, whatever you want to do, I appreciate you just for being here, honestly. Thank you, everybody. We will see you again next time for whatever crazy video we think up next. Until then, goodbye.
I really did think this place would see a bit more action.
If there's anything I can do for you, certainly.
Warp drive active.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
We've detached. Let's get out of here.
Warp drive active.
Yes.
Hey, good to see you.
I will now perform a system update. Complete.
Look at how far we've come.
Mateo, are you?
What if this...
You think we're doing?
I'm sorry. I just hope...
Hate to interrupt, but a lot of equipment on the Eye has reached the span. Got the nods and signs from Sarah. She's an old station. Be ready for retirement by the stretch of a human life. Took a lot of modifications to tune into the anomalies. Give you the down of it. Worried not all of the repairs need more than just the you and I.
As much as I love uncovering new questions, I wouldn't mind a few answers now and then.
Going to take a lot of hands to shore up the Eye.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. Autopilot engaged. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
Hey, you mind helping me weld up some of these panels? I miss coming up here. We should visit Vlad more often.
This scanning equipment needs to be installed. I could use your help. I think we are done. Thank you again. I'm just going... Thank you
Approaching Stargate.
Just pick up the welder. Nothing to it.
Why can't I use the welder?
Down in a jiff. Let me just check a few more things.
Autopilot jumping.
Setting up some... If you could just give my ingenious software a test run. Help Vladimir code up his system the first time.
Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
How does this work again? Now that is some fine...
Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
My attention. Be doing the checks and marks on the repairs from here.
Approaching Stargate.
Just gonna do some more spot welding. Never be too careful.
Nice work. Didn't burn your hand off. That's a win.
Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
I'm just going to check a few more things.
Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active. Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
Well, Phil, while most people were out hanging out with their moms this weekend, the people who refused to touch grass were standing inside trying to figure out, who do you trust, AOC or MTG? That's right, two sides of the same coin, Phil. That was how they wanted to spell, who should we be in coalition with? Who should we call mother, AOC or MTG? Phil, the question is yours. You have 2 seconds to answer. And one.
This is oh my God. This question is both very important and also connected to every 24 hours when the slightest, smallest inconvenience happens, and I'm like, what if I just quit the fucking internet and my whole job? This is that question. It is important because who we form coalitions with and what it means to win, and then from that govern. That is a very important question about practically leading this country.
Jumping.
Also morally, what does it mean where we stand for? And then also it's a dumb question if we are comparing MTG and AOC. It's really dumb. Of course, I trust AOC a million times more than MTG. And I say that as someone that on this podcast before, I guess this whole thing blew up, has said, hey, we got to credit Marge for being on the right side of a few issues. It takes some spine. Some people would argue that it's just playing the game, but it takes some spine to go against the president because you become a former representative really quick. But also, I hear you that this could be part of just her long game for a higher office.
I just shook my head no so hard I turned into Willow Smith because I was whipping my hair back and forth. All right, buddy. This is we do not, and under no circumstance ever do we have to give it up for Marjorie Taylor Greene. So for those of you guys who were hanging out with your moms, maybe. For those of you guys who left your house
must
over the
be
weekend,
so nice in your ivory tower, Perlman.
Yeah, no, it must be so. Listen, the only reason I was really staring directly into this is because I gave my wife my Mother's Day present to my wife was I looked at her and I said leave. I said go.
Very Father's Day present. I respect it.
It was a very father. Listen, we're in a partnership here. All right, we got a toddler.
This is
and
what
it was
equality
Sunday,
looks like.
and
This is what progress looks like.
This is, okay? I believe that when it comes to whether it be dating or parenting, any of those things, I think we're equal in this. My wife wanted to do a lot of stuff in the garden. It was a beautiful day outside. I got the toddler, and I discovered there's a whole area of, like, a whole new YouTuber train area that we went into. Watched a lot of trains. Anyway, while he was looking at trains, occasionally I'd look at my phone and I would see this discourse happening. And the thing is I do want to say, I think this discourse is half serious, because this is the type of bullshit that a billionaire lunatic like Elon Musk would definitely heat up a little bit to put into more people's timelines to keep fracturing the left. I would say that this is, if I want to put my tinfoil hat on and say that the racist South African billionaire who wants to control America, this is the type of thing that he would use by buying a communication website to destroy how we communicate inside of our own coalitions. But this all started with AOC. She was having a conversation with David Axelrod, who was Barack Obama's 2008 campaign manager. They were in Chicago. It was for Axios. And I think this is like a big church or something because of the way the shots are, and there's a lot of views. But anyway, they're having a conversation on stage, and AOC said the following, quote, "I personally do not trust somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a proven bigot and anti-Semite, on the issue of what is good for Gazans and Israelis. I don't think it benefits our movement to align with white nationalists." Now, this, to me, sounds like a very straightforward thing, which is, yeah. I think you guys keep forgetting that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a giant bigot.
Warping to Stargate.
And yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene is also an anti-Semite, because this is the Jewish space lasers lady. I think a lot of people have already kind of forgotten about that, because on some areas of especially TikTok and some corners of Twitter, claiming that Jews have lasers that start forest fires has like slowly become like a cottage industry. I'm looking at like half of the people who were posting about the Hawaiian wildfires a few years ago. This has just been a thing that's come up. However, this clip gets posted. And this is when the horseshoe starts just trying to get as close to the post as possible. Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, TYT, he immediately responded to this clip on Twitter, and he said, quote, "This is just terrible. She sounds just like the establishment. She's attacking an opponent of Israel as an anti-Semite. This is exactly what Israeli supporters want. Split the anti-war movement and the critics of Israel's genocide. Deeply counterproductive and selfish." He's wrong. He's wrong and stupid. I'm going to say, that's my opinion. My opinion is he is an idiot. He's a fucking moron, and he's chasing an audience with this. That is just solely my opinion. Okay? Nobody else needs to co-sign that opinion. That's just me saying this. He is a dumb man, and he's very stupid. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is only against what she's currently seeing because Marjorie Taylor Greene realized that Donald Trump refused to back her moving forward inside the party. Donald Trump was completely happy with her being a Georgia congressperson. He refused to back her for the Senate. He refused to back her for the governor of Georgia. He refused on any of these different areas, and that is the moment when we saw the split. Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2024 was posting that AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Cori Bush were part of, quote, the Hamas caucus. In 2024, Marjorie Taylor Greene was standing behind podiums that said, "I stand with Israel." In 2024 and even going into 25, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been pushing, historically, the worst things fucking possible. She's not anti-war. She's pro getting an audience. And that's what she's doing right now, because she's pivoting to become the ultimate podcast guest. And somebody over here needs guests because he also needs new viewers.
Oh my god.
Autopilot jumping.
Too much? Did I go too hard?
No. I'm just like, oh god, this is the episode where Alex is like, I think I'm fine taking on ops. Here's what I will say.
There's no taking on ops. There's no taking on ops. This is my opinion.
Sure. No. I think that my issue with it is she's attacking an opponent of Israel as an anti-Semite. What we have seen, and this is where we do get into the horseshoe shit, is that there are a lot of people that justifiably are like, what Israel is doing is a genocide. It is horrifying what we are seeing. And a lot of actual anti-Semites are also jumping into that, and it's becoming this fucking weird stew And part of the door also got open to this because
Approaching
of Netanyahu
Stargate.
saying that anyone criticizing what Israel was doing, this is what we've been fucking warning about forever.
Yes.
By saying that anyone criticizing Israel and what they're doing in Gaza or with Iran or anything, or in Lebanon, like that automatically makes you an anti-Semite, and then actual anti-Semites are being critical as well, and so it becomes this weird mishmash. I do not think that AOC is wrong in being critical of Marjorie Taylor Greene here. I think I also.
Autopilot
I agree with you to a certain extent of Marge is like looking for an audience, but also I think that what we've seen is that she is very steadfast in a number of her beliefs, and we've cheered her on when that is Epstein, right? Where she's broken from the president, but also, it does appear that there is more to her movements regarding Israel than, let's say, what AOC would be critical of.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is what you were pointing out there. This is actually a fault of the Democratic Party
Approaching
to a degree,
Stargate.
in that they have not allowed a lane for people until very recently to openly criticize the Israeli American foreign policy around Israel, specifically, and specifically around Gaza and what's been happening there. And there's some who've been able to have some movement on the settlers in the West Bank, right? When it comes to any of those policies around Palestine. When you completely brush everybody with the blanket of anti-Semite, this is exactly how you end up. But the thing is about Marjorie Taylor Greene is Marjorie Taylor Greene has been an anti-Semite the entire time. That's not a thing. She's also been a bigot the entire time. Like, there's a lot in here of
seeing her and Tucker all of a sudden care about brown people is I pulled the muscle in my fucking neck.
But not black people.
Active.
But like that's the thing is like this is what's crazy. It's like again I've asked this before and I've said it before in videos. Ask them what they care about on any other issue, and we'll see. They'll give you a mealy-mouthed answer. The thing that I saw a few people trying to say repeatedly is that Marjorie Taylor Greene apologized. Marjorie Taylor Greene had some wishy-washy statement. I believe it was on The View, where she said, "I'm sorry for being part of toxic politics." That's it. She hasn't apologized. She hasn't apologized for shit. And then a few other people who I saw said that Marjorie Taylor Greene made a massive sacrifice, that she sacrificed her political career. No, she didn't. She quit. She took her ball the day after all of her benefits vested, and she went home. You know why? Because she got to feel the squad treatment from Trump for all of 2.5 weeks. Like, and I understand that Elon has reached out or not reached out, but at least stated that she would embrace Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is great, very big of her. But not everybody has to do that. Just because your abuser said that they are no longer going to be mean to you, doesn't mean you have to be nice to them. It doesn't. It could just mean that, hey, we're now just two ships in the night passing each other. That's fine. But when it comes to this, like, I see this repeatedly, and it drives me fucking insane. The way this was happening over the weekend. But again, I don't believe this was actually that credible of a conversation, because it does feel very juiced. And as I started looking into the people who specifically were in the responses to a lot of these, who were like, no, we need to be listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I hate AOC, and blah, blah, blah. As I started cleaning through them, not all of them, but a big group of them were from accounts that were outside of America. These are from people who have not been watching. They only know of Marjorie Taylor Greene because Marjorie Taylor Greene in the last 6 months have come out and said that she's against Israel and that she is against the war in Iran. That's the only thing they know about her. They don't know about the 6-year history or longer history of Marjorie Taylor Greene stalking the halls of Congress and screaming through doors, come out here, you coward. They don't know about her chasing David Hogg down the street and saying that he was a crisis actor and other bullshit like that. They don't remember her screaming during State of the Union addresses while wearing Trump was always right hats. They don't remember her calling for mass deportations and applauding children being put in cages and having ICE storm through the fucking neighborhoods. They don't know about any of this shit, or they don't give a fuck. And the other part I feel from a lot of them is a lot of them are so anti-American imperialism that their goal is to push people may be fucking so bad for America that you get rid of American imperialism by throwing this country into Balkan
Approaching Stargate. Autopilot jumping. Warping to station. Warp drive active. Approaching station. Docking permission requested. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. Autopilot disabled. Waypoint reached.
Celebration.
grab a wrench. Should be quick.
In Civil War. And that has been a feeling I've been starting to get from some of these corners. But